what about? Okay, so we're kind of split over this. We go on an 8-game stretch after this matchup, right? Where we have to play teams like the Green Bay Packers, we have to play the Detroit Lions, we have to play the Chicago Bears. We have to play like the whole NFC North, but do we play the Vikings? Why didn't we get them?
We also play Seattle.
Yeah, and Seattle. Yeah, and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh and
Baltimore.
Baltimore. They're like the. God, that's an 8-game run that makes me so nervous. Patrick, we then get a break. We get a break, Patrick, and we go from 1 all the way, and then our next divisional opponent after all those crazy teams, and we land on primetime Thursday night football in Charlotte. You're the guy in Charlotte. I hope you're going to be there. We're going to try to be there, but we got to play the Saints after that. So our break from a hard run is a primetime game at home against a team we loathe. What do you think about that matchup?
It sucks. I'll be honest. I'm gonna throw it out there. It sucks. Honestly, I mean we're playing at home. That's a bonus. The way I look at it is yeah, we have a tough upcoming schedule before we hit New Orleans. Depending on how the Panthers play all those teams is the same way we're gonna approach New Orleans. I mean, if we get murdered by all these teams, we're gonna get crushed by New Orleans.
Yeah.
But if we play solid games, if we get on a roll like we did last year where we were winning 8 games in a row, where we're just like an unstoppable train, I think at home we can hold off New Orleans, but it's all going to depend just on how consistent they are and how quickly they get off to a good start. And, I mean, injuries is always going to be a factor.
Yeah, so, I think you're right about that. So here, let me just pose that one scenario to you about this. That you're saying is that what if we don't win? Say we don't win 7 out of 8, but what if we win? What if we go 5-3 or something like that in that run, and then those 3 losses weren't demoralizing? Do you think that would be enough to kind of go in on primetime and get a second win, or do we need to come off like a 4-game win streak going into that?
That's a solid question. Honestly, I'm thinking we're gonna have to pull off some sort of break before we hit New Orleans. Because when you look at it, New Orleans is playing Cleveland, Minnesota, Dallas, Tampa. They have a bye week. I mean, they could easily go 6-0 before they even get to us, and we will be struggling from the get-go, and we'll be hurting. And so, honestly, I think we need to we need to get a couple wins consistently. Right, that's pretty hard to say considering we have Seattle, Green Bay, and Cincinnati. But I mean, if we,
gosh, I know.
If we play good and we don't because I mean, there's some games where we lose by 40 points, and you can just tell the next week it's like they feel like the season is over. So if we can make it competitive and just kind of keep our spirits up, especially with the young players. I mean, Cam Newton, you've seen how emotional he gets. So if we can, the veterans can hold together that locker room and keep everyone on the right track, win or lose, I still think we have a solid chance of beating them at home, for sure.
Right on. All right, so I made this Week 9 graphic, the Saints at the Panthers. Mel, what I want you to do is get in there and tell us is this matchup is there something special about it, or is it should we be nervous? What's the deal with this matchup? I'm scared off of that run.
Well, first of all, man, your graphics are sick. Those are just awesome graphics. So kudos to you.
Nice, thank you.
It is awesome. But hey, this game here, man, it's in a weird spot. It's the night before Halloween. It's 4 days after coming off of a brutal matchup against Seattle. Everybody's going to want to beat Seattle. They barely beat us in the home opener last year. We're going to want revenge. It's going to be a physical game. 4 days later, we're on prime time. From a draft perspective, here's another reason to hate New Orleans. They traded ahead of us to get Mach 7, Brandon Cooks, who Panther Nation said that we wanted at number 28. So,
boy, yeah, don't mock the draft. The three fans wanted him badly.
That's right. He was our number one pick. They jumped ahead of us to get him. So it's going to be tough, but you know what? The Panthers lose the games that we're supposed to win, like home openers against Tampa Bay and coming off of byes. We also win the games we shouldn't. So this is a game I think we're going to take. Even though it's going to be tough, we're going to be beat up, I think we hang on. We beat New Orleans at home.
And I think that's going to be the difference. I think it's going to be because we are at home. And we saw what happened that Monday night game, how the crowd really got behind the Panthers against the Patriots this past season. And the crowd, it was almost like they willed the Panthers to a victory. And I believe it's going to be the same sort of situation. As long as we're not coming into this game like 1-7 or 1-8, we should be in a position to where the crowd will put us over the top.
Ken, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about this matchup?
I think that I'd like to say that we've got a good shot at winning, but I just don't see us winning this game. Coming off, you only got a 3-day rest, going off that probably the most physical team that we're going to play all year in Seattle. So by Thursday, you've got a bunch of guys that are just really starting to move like they're still alive,
Right.
let alone play football.
Yeah, like that Seattle game ain't going to be like
We're playing Jackson.
Yeah, or a touch football or a flag football game. I mean, that's going to be a man's game right there.
Yeah, and then so we're going to have a lot of people in the training room, for Monday and Tuesday, whatever. And we're just going to have so many people beat up. It's not injuries or anything, because you never know who's going to get injured, who's not, what team's going to suffer injuries. Except for Dallas, they already lost Sean Lee, but injuries could happen any way you want to look at it. But all else being equal, I think that the Saints are going to have an advantage coming in because we'll have the short week and that physical game beforehand. I think we'll probably come out flat, and that'll give Drew Brees and company time enough to jump ahead of us. And
I don't like this, Ken. I don't like this.
I'm just being honest, man.
Ken, why are you being Debbie Downer?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
being honest, I think that they'll have, they've got the firepower to jump out in front, and we don't have the firepower to catch up.
I mean, New Orleans is playing Green Bay, so the week before, so I don't know if that's going to be a walk in the park for them either.
That's true.
Well, they're not the physical team. They're not the physical team that the Seahawks are, though.
Sure. This is what I think, though, is I want to, or this is what I want. I don't think that necessarily things happen, but I do think that Carolina remembers Game 1 of last season where we outplayed Seattle for 3 quarters, and then the NC State boy, Mel Mayock, Wolfpack guy, right? The NC State boy, Russell Wilson, took over in the 4th quarter. And our offense only put up like 12 points or 9 points or something terrible. So 12. I think 12. We came out. So our defense played phenomenal that game until the end. I think they were just gassed by that point. But so I think they're going to remember that. This is what I want to happen. I want, because this will be the best GIF or short YouTube video ever. Cam Newton to break out into the open field and then mash Richard Sherman as he runs by and teach him and just say, "What's up?" Take that, Richard Sherman, because Cam Newton can tell you to be quiet more than Crabtree. So then that's gonna happen in Seattle, and then that mojo is gonna carry over until when the Saints come to town, and then somebody like Roman Harper is going to get a little frisky against his old team and catch Cooks across the middle and kill him by accident.
I like how you think. Right on.
Kill him by accident. So then when we play them at the Saints on the turf, Brandon Cooks is neutralized or at least scared. And either way, if that happens, my life will be epically awesome. the puppet master right here, Joey. That's going to be a huge game Thursday night on Primetime.
Nationally televised.
Yeah, we're the spotlight. It's a divisional rivalry. Charlotte, we know Patrick is going to be going crazy that week.
Oh yeah.
When you think of that game, Joey, right now, gut feeling, do you envision us being at a moment where we are confident going in there to punch or ready to punch them in the face, or do you see us backpedaling a little bit at that point of the season?
I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to determine the rest of your season. This is going to be a game where we may be licking our wounds, so to speak, from a hard-fought battle against the Seahawks. And it's at this point to where we're going to have to decide, are we going to fold up or are we going to keep pounding?
Right.
And I believe that the Panthers, their mantra is keep pounding. So no matter what happened in the Seattle game, they know the significance of this game. This is a huge game, division game, against arguably the team we hate the most, the Saints. So the fans are gonna be behind them. I believe they're gonna have to step up. I'm not saying we're gonna blow them out. I don't believe that at all. But I believe it's gonna be a tough matchup. And speaking of which,
okay,
I'd like to thank Luke down at the Fan Zone in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Tanger Outlets, for giving us some props tonight.
Yeah, look at that gear, dude. Oh my gosh, I've been watching it and been eyeing it, and I've been plotting my ride down there for 5 hours.
It's a D'Angelo Williams signed helmet, and then a miniature D'Angelo Williams signed helmet. And I downloaded the mobile app for the Fan Zone. You guys should do the same. They've got some really great stuff.
Well, gosh, you just decked out and got the bling on. I didn't get anything new, Joe. I went deep into the closet.
You say you just came out of the closet? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, no.
I went deep into the closet and got this old number 7 jersey.
Steve Berline.
Steve Berline. Take that, fan favorite, throwing it back tonight. So
there you
go. Well, I think you're right, Joe. That game, and actually, I want to check out this Fan Zone place because that gear is rad. D'Angelo Williams signed helmet. I've always been a D'Angelo fan because I saw him. I've seen him play when he was in college against ECU, and he was so sick in college, and I was just hoping that when he came to the NFL, he'd just blow up, or transition, should I say? Well, I was worried he's going to be a little small, and then he turned into a punch in the face and then slash tough running back. So I love that, and that helmet is sick. I hope get that app and go buy it tonight.
There you go.
Okay, well, so I think you're right, Joe. That middle of this mid-season, week 9, is that if we get stomped on national TV, it's kind of probably over after that point. But if we can be, hot, like Patrick is saying, is coming in a little hot, a little confident, beat our rivals, that might be like a slingshot of momentum to kind of ride that wave on. Then we get